Baseball and Whatever with your host, Justin McElwee.
Because I was on campus and I had to appear like I was one of the cool kids, I would put the Star Wars book inside one of my textbooks so it looked like I was just studying for class.
All right, look, there's only one return, okay? And it ain't of the king, it's of the Jedi.
Vincent Francis Jankowitz IV.
I'm a glorified fact checker.
Last I checked, the most runs in a game wins.
Actually, I am a fact checker.
And Greg Probst.
If you look at most Bond fans movie rankings, they have Casino Royale and Majesty in their top two. For me, these actually rank in the bottom part of my list. I mean, I love them, but they don't compare to Diamond Cross Forever.
No, stop getting Bond wrong!
Hello, everybody. Episode 89 of Baseball and Whatever. I'm Justin. There's Vinny. We are back. Another episode. I apologize for the delay. I got home late because we had parent-teacher conferences tonight. So I got home like 20 minutes ago. But we're here. I gotta say, Vinny, it's kind of boring when you're not a teacher anymore. I got all my work done instead. I just sit at my desk and do all my stuff. Yeah,
pretty much.
I don't know. Yeah, I did I did design some tech projects and put out a couple fires for computers that weren't working, and that's it. I got my iced coffee. I'm ready to stay awake. I'm losing my voice too. I gotta tell you, I've been on a cold brew coffee kick, and I've been making my own at home because I'm.
Oh, look at you!
How do you do
the cold brew?
I buy cold brew in a jug, and then I mix it with water, and then I pour some creamer in it and some ice cubes, and that's it.
Wait. You mix the cold brew coffee in water?
Yeah, because the cold brew...
You add cream to it?
The cold brew is too strong. I don't like coffee black. So
That's
you
what
mix
the
it
for.
Yeah, but then you got to put too much creamer in and it's fattening, so...
Dear God.
So what I was going to say is I've been
wrong
trying...
with you?
Oh, there's a lot of things. I've said that way too many times on this show. I've been trying different creamers each time I go to the store. This is a tangent. I tried a Snickers coffee creamer, which was excellent. But one tablespoon was 10% of your daily sugar content, so that wasn't good. Then I tried a sugar-free substitute from Starbucks that was a caramel. That was pretty good, but was giving me a stomachache because I think of the sucrose because it's not real sugar. I haven't decided. And then I tried a regular version of Starbucks coffee creamer, but this is cinnamon dolce. But it doesn't really taste like cinnamon at all. It's very bland. So I'm kind of disappointed.
Very dolce?
Yes, it's very dolce. So anyway, I will stop talking about coffee. Yes, what do you want to share?
You could just drink the coffee just regular.
Black?
Or
yeah, but it doesn't
milk in it.
Well,
Milk
I did.
Healthy. Why are you putting
it is, and I do drink almond milk in my
Don't put
in my
almond milk in.
smoothies.
Don't you dare put almond milk in it. Put regular milk in it.
Well, I have tried almond milk and it wasn't good in coffee, so.
No, because the almond milk like breaks up and it gets
it's
like
watery,
chunky.
Yeah. So I've been just doing
steal some of Maddie's whole milk.
Whole milk?
Put
that
in there.
Yeah. I've been doing like half a cup of water. So like I fill the water up to here and then I fill the rest of coffee up to there.
The water. I don't get that. That's gross.
I don't know. I don't
Watering
drink
down
coffee. I don't drink coffee on a regular. I usually just go to Starbucks for coffee. When I get a cold brew from there, it's amazing. I know what I'm getting. All right. Anyway, let's start.
Buy the Starbucks cold. No, we can't. You're not just gonna push past this, Justin. We're gonna have to get to the bottom of this.
All right.
Why don't you just get the Starbucks cold brew from the store? They sell
that
there.
They do, but I don't know if they sell the creamer that. So like, when I go to Starbucks, I get a vanilla sweet cream cold brew. And it's great because it's only 100 calories and it's a grande. It's 16 ounces and it wakes me up in the morning. But I don't know. They don't sell the vanilla sweet cream creamer as far as I know. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't really.
You could just buy regular vanilla creamer.
I could.
The same thing.
It's probably the same.
You're just buying the label at that point.
I did see they had an almond milk creamer. I was kind of curious about that.
Those aren't good.
They're not good. All right, I won't even try that then. So yeah, so I am.
But then again, you like almond milk though, so
I do.
Well, like that.
I don't really like it. I just can't taste it when I make like protein smoothies in the morning with fruit and stuff.
So, yeah, don't get it then because you can taste the difference.
You can taste the difference. All right. Well, now that we've solved that crisis, I appreciate it, Vinny. This week
we've really solved it. But
no,
we've
smoothed out the rough edges of that one. We are here this week. We're going to talk baseball. There is so much to discuss on the White Sox. Oh my God, I'm not even a White Sox fan. I know I say that every week, but I am angry for that team's fan base. A little bit on the Cubs that maybe we can discuss, and then we're going to go over Zips and Pacoda rankings or statistics, predictions. And if you're not familiar with those are predictions from Fangraphs, and I think, is it Baseball Prospectus? I know Fangraphs does one of them, and they kind of take into account players' stats from previous seasons, their trajectories, and they try and build out who's going to have the most wins and losses and some stats and things like that. So we'll talk about that. And then lastly, we are going to break down and rank our favorite Pixar movies of all time. And I was kind of surprised. There's not as many Pixar movies that I like. I thought there were more.
Really?
Hot take, yeah. I feel like lately Disney animation has done better than Pixar. I don't know if that's... I don't know. There is a couple. There's one in particular on here that I did not plan on liking until I saw it last year, and I really enjoyed it. I've seen it a couple times now. But yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. Last week was episode 88. We did our Super Bowl show with Jordan from Live School, if you want to check that out. This week's episode 89. So, Vinny, are we doing 88 and 89 jersey numbers, or do you just want to stick to 89? Your call.
We'll just do 89.
All right,
it's not
fair
like
enough.
There was a lot of 88s. Well, I'm sure there was
just
some
Kane. That's it. Patrick Kane and that's
Patrick
about
Kane, Luis Robert, and then slew of Bears. Which
all right, so 89,
all wide receiver numbers, so it wouldn't have been good.
All right, 89.
You have one Black Hawk and one Chicago Cub, and that's it. Besides the Bears.
All right, Blackhawks that wore 89. Let me think here. No,
only one.
I honestly don't know who wore 89.
It's this year.
Oh, it's this year. It's not Max Domi, is it?
Nope.
No, it's not Max Domi.
Nope.
I don't know. Who is it then?
It is Andreas Athanasiou.
Athanasiou. Andreas Athanasiou. Yep, that's it.
All right.
That is it.
Any good?
Not really. If he could be a little bit better, he could be a decent trade piece at the deadline, but I don't think they're going to get much for him. So.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. 89 for the Cubs.
89 for the Cubs. What year? Can you give me a year or a position or something?
2021.
Ooh. Was it a pitcher?
It was a pitcher. He has last pitched with the New York Mets, 21 in 2021. Actually, he's you see him quite a bit on Twitter. I don't know if that helps.
No, it doesn't.
No, okay.
No, it doesn't.
It's 89? Robert Stock.
Oh, yeah. No, I would not have ever guessed that in a million years.
Guessed him?
No.
Okay.
No, I would not have. Okay. All right. Anybody
Chicago
else?
Bears now.
Oh God, nope. I have no clue for Chicago Bears.
This is not a good list here.
No, this is a bad day for.
There's one big one.
Okay.
You should get.
That's 89.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised this number wasn't retired.
Oh, Ditka.
Yes.
Yes, Ditka wore 89.
Good job, Justin.
Yep, that's right. I remember because I almost bought a Ditka jersey a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that one because the NFL has just told the Bears they can't retire any more numbers, and I feel like he played with them for 5 years, only 5 years, 61 to 66. That's not a long time. I thought he played a lot longer with the Bears.
No, yeah, I guess you're right. I just feel like though he's a guy that is synonymous with that organization, though. You know what I mean?
He coached the Super Bowl team in '85. You thought you would think that they would have retired his number.
You would think
after that.
You would think.
Yeah, you would. I mean, I didn't realize that he played with any other teams. He played with Philadelphia and the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow,
which I guess
really?
he did also coach for Dallas before he joined the Bears as the head coach. But yeah, I didn't realize that. So I would have thought that he played his entire career with the Bears the way football historians make it sound like.
You would think, yeah. Speaking of Ditka's, have you ever been to the restaurant? His restaurant, or is
I have
it
not? Is it
neither
any
have
good?
I. No, I couldn't tell you. I've
Okay.
never been. Never been to Jordan's restaurant or Harry Carey's either. Actually, now that I think of it, I'm 0 for 3.
I've been to Harry Carey's. I've had drinks at Harry Carey's.
Okay.
And Jordan's, I actually went to, I barely remember it, but we were downtown Chicago for the Mayor's Cup 3v3 soccer tournament, and it got rained out, and I think we went to Jordan's that evening, and we ate there. I don't know. I don't know. I could be misremembering that, but oh well. I digress.
Yes.
Any other Bears come to mind for?
No,
for
you're asking the wrong guy. I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, the last person to wear it was in 2011, 2012, and that was Matt Spaeth.
Oh,
Matt
was
Spaeth?
he? Yes.
Tight end.
Tight end. Okay, I remember the name. I don't remember him being anything to write home about though.
No. Ryan Wetnight. You remember him? 93 to 99.
No.
Very inappropriate name.
Yeah, I got nothing on that one.
Other than that, James Scott, 1976 to 1983. No.
Okay.
Probably not.
Doesn't ring a bell.
And Bob Wallace. Those are the only real names bad number 89. Not a lot out there.
And I'm guessing 90's not going to be very good either.
Probably not. We'll see next week.
Yeah, I can think of one Bear that had 90, but that's it. All right. Okay. Well, we do have a couple of new reviews to go along with our listener comments section. So, Vinny, I'll take the first one if you want to take the second one. This was a review on Apple from Mike. He said, the fellas do a great job keeping you entertained with their ability to shift and talk tons of different topics. Feels like you're just hanging out with some friends. They are a great listen. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that, or we appreciate that. Too kind. I like to think we can be very friendly when we want to be, And then there's times where we're not friendly at all.
Do we come off as friendly? I don't know.
I think I do. I don't know if you or Greg do. Greg does.
I don't think so.
I think Greg's probably the
boomer?
friendliest one. The
no,
boomer?
Greg doesn't. I don't think Greg does. Greg tells it how it is.
All right, that's true.
I think it goes. Probably Greg is probably the one that tells it like it is, and then I'm like right above Greg, and then like you're like the fence sitter. I don't want to cause any trouble.
That is, I don't like confrontation. How'd you know?
That is very true.
All right, go ahead and take the next one, Vinny.
Wrestling Society writes in, very well informed on baseball and more. The team actually knows what they are talking about and bring the entertainment with informed takes, not the typical dry sports takes or people yelling at each other to get hits. 5 stars. Well, thank you, Wrestling Society.
You.
Yeah, we don't. I think it helps that Justin is not confrontational, so we're not.
I'm not confrontational. I think you and Greg definitely have the more. I don't know. I feel
hot
like
takes.
I don't know. It takes a lot to get me really amped up.
It really does.
It really does. That's when you know.
Even with the Blackhawks stuff, you weren't yelling.
Subdued. I wasn't yelling. No.
Yes.
No. They're just so bad. All right. Well, couple things. I do have. I don't know if this is a hot take. Do you want to play the music or should we just jump right into it?
I think we could just jump right into it. I think we maybe need to reformat the opening where we're talking about
takes?
like shows and stuff like. Maybe we need a flex play there where we can insert different sound bites and stuff.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'll be honest. I did not get to watch a lot of the Super Bowl just because Maddie was running around and wanting to play. So I didn't get a chance to see a lot of the commercials, trailers, but this was one in particular that I think got released either hours before or the day before, which was weird. That happened a lot this year. And that is the trailer for the new Flash movie. I am so excited. I've probably watched that trailer 6 or 7 times since it came out.
Wow.
That's
a lot.
I did this with both Suicide Squad movies too, and then I ended up not liking either one of those movies. But so yeah,
Whose fault was that?
That would be mine, sir. Building it up too much. So okay, a couple things. I really enjoyed Ezra Miller is kind of a nut job. I think it's safe to say. I think he was kind of terrorizing the people of Hawaii. I think he still lives there. A lot of things that he's being charged with and things like that. I know he's trying to get some help now. But I did like his version of the Flash. I thought it was a cool version. Granted, I don't know much about the Flash besides being able to run. I don't know, too much else. I tried watching the CW show and I was like, I couldn't get into it. But I do like the way that character works in the last couple movies. I think it's interesting. I'm not a Ben Affleck Batman fan, but I do like his Bruce Wayne, so I thought it was interesting that he's going to be in this, briefly, I think. But the lead we're burying here is I was so excited to see Michael Keaton in that Batman outfit, and just the way he started, the classic, yeah, I'm Batman. Like it wasn't forced. Right. It was really cool. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell who was on the Christopher Nolan-esque Bat Cycle, if that was Ben Affleck or Michael Keaton.
I thought that was cool seeing that.
Yes.
I mean, obviously Keaton was like the best part of it, but seeing that, I was like, ooh.
That was pretty cool.
I mean, we haven't heard anything about Christian Bale. I
don't
think he's
I don't think so
it, but...
either. But yeah, so like that looks pretty cool. I do like and I think it's from a comic series from 2011 called Flashpoint, where the Flash kind of breaks the time continuum because he changes a couple things and it messes everything up. So you have all these different universes, and instead of Clark Kent is Superman landing in the United States, Supergirl, who I don't know much about Supergirl, but she lands, she's captured, and then they set her free, and then she I'm assuming goes on to help them fight, because now General Zod is invading, going back to one of the other Superman movies that Henry Cavill did, where he defeats him. Didn't see that one. I'll be honest, I don't really care too much about Superman. But now that there's no Superman, because there's none of these the metahumans, as they call them, are not there. It's just it's the Flash, Barry Burton talking to his other version of himself in this new universe, and then Supergirl and Batman, and that's it. So I'll be curious to see who else shows up. I did hear that supposedly they are making another Batman with Robin, but it's going to be the Damian Wayne version of Robin, where it's actually Batman's son with Talia al Ghul.
Okay.
And supposedly this was leaked online. I don't know how true this is, but the leaker said one of the other Batmans is coming back to play this version of Batman, and it's not Ben Affleck and it's not Michael Keaton. And George Clooney's not coming back to play Batman anytime soon. So that leaves Christopher Nolan's Batman, which is Christian Bale, because Val Kilmer is definitely not going to be able to with the health issues he has. So the thought of Christian Bale coming back, is this a way to start to work that in as well? Maybe there's another splintered universe.
What if they bring Adam West back in CGI form?
I don't know. Can they tilt the camera so it looks like he's climbing the ceiling? Yeah. Right. Climbing the wall, yeah, with Robin, Boy Wonder. Right. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool, because I haven't read those comics, but I've played a couple video games with that version of Robin in it, and I'll be honest, that version of Robin is like a complete a-hole, because he's raised not knowing Batman is his dad. He's raised with the League of Shadows, League of Assassins, which is Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul. So he's raised to be kind of not a criminal, but kind of on the wrong side of the law, and now it's Batman, Bruce Wayne, trying to teach him the right way, and there's constantly this clash. But anyway, getting back to the Flash movie, it looks awesome. Comes out in June. I was trying to get your sister. I'm like, I know you like Michael Keaton Batman. Let's go see this together. Do you want to watch the trailer? And she's like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, what do you mean you're good? You like Michael Keaton Batman? She goes, no, I just like Batman Returns because it's Tim Burton, and that one's really weird, and Danny DeVito's in it. And I'm like,
makes sense.
Okay, well now I got to go see this by myself.
Maybe Danny DeVito will make an appearance.
That would be cool, but I doubt it's going to happen. But that would be cool. Can we get Max Schreck great. In this too?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I got. What's your interesting take this week, Vinny?
I started and finished the James Bond movie License to Kill with Timothy Dalton as James Bond. I have to say I enjoyed that movie. Justin, I think you might actually like that one.
Really?
It's kind of a straightforward Bond film. There's no didn't watch the Timothy Dalton one before that, and I wasn't lost. I'll say that,
okay.
Justin, which most of the Bond films you can kind of watch.
They're
without being
they're
lost.
close
I guess
to standalone.
The Craig ones are probably the only, I guess, Craig ones I know for sure you'd be lost in if you kind of just jumped in the middle. But the Dalton one was good. It's kind of just like a action movie. It's fun, kind of gruesome. For a Bond film, I have to say I haven't seen all of them.
Okay.
But the ones I have seen, this one was kind of a little on the gruesome side on some of the parts in it. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Good action movie, very 80s-ish feel, because I think it takes place in the late 80s. But yeah, it was a good movie, and I recommend watching it, especially for someone like you, Justin, that's not really into the Bond films per se. But I think this one is, I think you could like this one. I think you would like this one if you watched it.
I feel like I need a gateway drug to get into the Bond series. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I think this would be a good one. Just like I said, it's not. There's no like Spectre or anything like that mentioned. It's kind of like a point A to point B. There's not really like twists or anything like, a spy type thriller where there's, who the bad guy is and Bond's going after him. There's not a lot of thinking involved, I guess, in it. So yeah, I think you could sit there, watch it, and enjoy the film for what it is.
All right, well, maybe I'm gonna have a spring break coming up. Maybe I'll watch it one night.
It's on Paramount Plus.
Oh, we don't have Paramount Plus.
Well, someone does, and maybe
someone I do know.
You can borrow their login information.
I'm
to
sure
watch
I
that
could
movie.
cough up the money for 1 month. It's not that bad, but all right, cool. I will keep an eye out for that. Maybe I will give that a shot. All right. Well, are we ready? Should we get into the nitty gritty here of baseball?
Sure, why not?
All right.
Baseball.
Welcome back to Major League Baseball. Sort of.
Taking a look at Chicago's 2 favorite teams and other happenings around the MLB.
All righty. I guess really quick, we can kind of just cross this one off the list. The Cubs did add another bullpen arm, and this week they signed and brought on former Detroit Tiger Michael Fulmer. I'll be honest. I've heard the name. I'm familiar somewhat with him. He had a .8 WAR last year, 3.39 ERA over 63 innings. Also was a former Twin. Let's see, where else did he play? Oh, wait, no, he wasn't a Twin.
Detroit and Minnesota.
Oh, yes,
he
Detroit
got
and
Minnesota. To Minnesota last year.
Thank you. All right, I'm looking at his stats, and I'm like, I don't even see Minnesota on here. All right, so hey, the more bullpen arms, the better. I feel like the Cubs do a nice job of kind of grabbing people from all over, and every year that's one of their. I'd say it's a strength for the most part. Bullpens are kind of fickle, and theirs is usually consistent. So I don't know. What was your take? Were you excited? Or are you kind of thinking that's it? No Andrew Chafin for that matter. I think he just signed somewhere
Andrew
too. Andrew
Chafin signed with Arizona this week.
Yes, which makes no sense.
That was a weird signing. Yeah, Arizona and Colorado, they just like those two teams out west that don't make much sense. They do weird things, but
no.
The signing was good. Having a nice veteran reliever in there, like you said, the Cubs somehow, just recently they've been able to piece together bullpens pretty well. Whether that's the pitch due to the pitch lab and pitch coaching, or just their scouting department really knows who to get. But yeah, I think it's a good signing. They still, looking at it, they still have flexibility to add a left-handed reliever, which they need to do.
Yes.
And they have the money in the budget. They're still not over the tax yet with signing Fulmer, because I think it was like $4 million between $4 and $5 million.
Right.
So they have some flexibility there. So I still would expect them maybe to add lefty reliever, veteran guy, and we'll see. Pitchers and catchers have reported, so they kind of have to move on that if they're gonna bring somebody in, because they want to get him. They should be wanting to get that guy ready to go for the season. So we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know I saw quite a few guys for the Cubs have already reported that you wouldn't expect in terms of like position players and stuff. But I know there was it Marcus Stroman was quoted as saying something along the lines of, with Dansby Swanson back there and Nico Horner, what did he say? My sinker's gonna sink extra hard this year. Like they are really excited to have those two guys up the middle, especially with the no shift policies or the no shift changes. I know Obvious Shirts has a shirt out already called "It's a Sinker's Gonna Sink." They got on that really quick, but overall, I'm excited. Baseball season is almost here. We just got to get out of February, and then I feel like then it's really going to start to shift gears into the warmer weather, baseball, all that good stuff. I got nothing else with the Cubs. You got any other Cubs stuff you'd like to throw in?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. All right.
No. Yeah, there wasn't too much out of Cubs camp.
No, not yet.
It's
yet.
good. Seiya's looking huge, which
awesome.
I'm sure everybody's talking about that.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting to see what he can do. Hopefully that's not going to hurt him in any way
Hamper
with his
him,
swing adding all that bulk up. But yeah, he looks like he's in really good shape. And he's already hitting bombs in batting practice, which is nice to see. Other than that, there's not much, I guess, else to, pitchers and catchers just started reporting. So
just reported
going on.
WBC baseball be around the corner. So you got the Cubs, opening camp, mostly just baseball discussions. And then on the other side of town in Chicago and the other part of Arizona, I suppose as well, you got the White Sox camp opening up. And baseball is probably the last thing that they are talking about, and that is due to the current outstanding investigation that is going on by MLB with Mike Clevinger. So if you're unfamiliar, back in, was this November, I want to say, December, Mike Clevinger, or maybe it was later, but the police reports were from then. Mike Clevinger, his ex-girlfriend, I believe, came out on social media saying that, he is a drug user, and we're not just talking marijuana. We're talking some really heavy stuff. Accused him of child abuse, spitting chew on their daughter, which I can't even fathom why you would do that if that's the case. And then also domestic abuse, and she posted plenty of pictures and bruises and things he had said, things he had done. I know he had tried to pull the insurance from both her and their daughter in order to get custody of her. There's also a custody battle going on, I believe. Some of the other ex-girlfriends and ex-wife of his also, she was saying that he was known to do this to them as well. I don't know if they've come out or if they're participating in the investigation. And ultimately, this was after the White Sox had signed him. These reports came out. And then that kind of got put on the White Sox, like, okay, well, how did you vet this guy? What did you do? Background checks, talking to former players that he worked with, things like that. And lo and behold, nothing changed really, and he has shown up to camp. Rick Hahn came out and said that we didn't have any recourse. It's up to MLB to suspend him and put him on the inactive list, which I would disagree. They could just say, you know what? Sorry, we're done, and then pay him to go away. I think they're not going to do that, though, because then that opens them up to maybe a lawsuit from him at some point, especially if these things are not found to be true. I don't know. But yeah, I know, Vinny, you have some of his quotes, right?
Yeah, Rick Hahn, came out and he was asked if he was frustrated that Mike Clevinger put him and the White Sox in this position by not disclosing when he signed that he was under investigation for allegations of domestic violence. Hahn thought about it for a while and said, I understand why he did, which is ridiculous. And that was from Stephanie Epstein,
Yes.
Senior writer for Sports Illustrated, and then Chelsea James, national baseball reporter for Washington Post. She said, Hahn, she was quoted, Hahn on Clevinger, there's no way for us to be aware of the incident without someone being in violation of the confidentiality part of domestic abuse policy with the MLB. Outside of that, he said, there's no indication of anything close to what is being alleged in this guy's background. So there's a lot in both those quotes.
Unpack, yeah.
Rick Hahn is literally playing lawyer for this guy by coming out and defending him. There's no reason for Rick Hahn to be speaking. There's
none.
Absolutely
Zero.
no reason. Who in their right mind in that organization thought that would be a good idea? He should have been deflecting it as much as possible because there's nothing good to come out of this.
There's no way they look better for this. There's none.
And I don't see how a background check doesn't find this. I
okay.
mean, it was on social media.
Right.
There was a police report filed.
I
get not knowing the investigation with the MLB because they can't disclose that. But they should have found something. I mean, and it's not, and we talked about it when the allegations first came out. It's not like this guy was some Boy Scout and it's like, yeah, this, there's probably, this guy's been a dirtbag for a while.
Yes.
I don't believe that they didn't find anything. I don't believe they looked hard enough.
No, they clearly
at all.
They clearly did not.
And to sit there and say, "Oh, I understand why he didn't tell us." Again, shut your mouth. Don't say anything. You don't need to sit there and even ponder it. And sit there and go, "Yeah, I get why he did it."
That was probably the most damning.
Looking out for himself.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if he was innocent. I mean, if it was me taking responsibility for stuff that would happen, knowing that he knows there's an investigation going on with himself.
Yes.
You would think that someone that's, kind of a reliable and, someone that takes responsibility for themselves would say, hey, I have this going on right now. There's no truth to it, and I'll be completely open with you, but I want to make you aware that I have this going on instead of trying to hide it so he can get his payday. And and to say you understand why he did it, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's even a good pitcher.
He's not even a good pitcher anymore. No, he's a fifth starter at best. So, okay, couple things to piggyback off. First of all, once you're done listening to our show, don't do it yet. Head on over to CHGO, listen to their White Sox podcast from Wednesday. Herb Lawrence, friend of the show who's been on, and Sean Anderson. We gotta see if we can get Sean on because he seems like a pretty cool guy too. They run their White Sox show over there, and they did a great job breaking it down. So I'm gonna reiterate some of their points as well, but definitely check it out if you have time. So, first of all, and we can get to Mike. Then they had Mike Clevinger speak, which is even more asinine. Who in the PR department at the White Sox said, hey, let's have the guy, no one's going to want to talk to him about baseball, and he's not going to talk about anything but baseball. Let's see how this goes. But we'll get to that in a second. So Rick Hahn, first of all, like you said, yes, if I don't know, I like to think, granted I'm not in that situation, and I'll be honest, I'm hoping based on the way I was raised and my personality, I don't think I'm ever going to be in that situation that Mike Clevinger finds himself in. I can guarantee I won't be. But okay, if I'm trying to think, like you said, if I got hired somewhere, I think the smart thing would be to do, like you said, is to get ahead of it and be like, hey, there's an investigation going on. This is what's happening. I'll tell you whatever you want to know because it's not true. Okay, he didn't do that. The fact then that his boss, like you said, says, oh, well, I get why he didn't. What? So you talk about how you want him to be a team player and be the good for the organization. Well, like that totally goes against everything you're saying you stand for, number one. Number two, with the background check, in so many words, I don't know if you saw did you see the actual video interview or no? Just the quotes?
No.
Okay, so in the video interview, he expands on that. And he says something along the lines of, well, we did our due diligence. And one of the writers, and I give them credit, they're not letting them off the hook yet with this. they said, and I wish I remembered who it was. I think maybe somebody from The Athletic. I'm not sure. But they said, okay, well, what did that entail? And he said, well, something along the lines of, well, we talked to some former players that he played with. We talked to former managers, and we asked around, and that was our background check. So unless it was a lie of omission here, he didn't say anything about a criminal background check, which when you're doling out the kind of money that teams dole out, you would think that would be probably every job does that. I don't know a job that doesn't do a criminal background check.
Right.
Even if you're a Boy Scout. So, okay, that would have caught the police reports, number one. Number two, even if they didn't do a criminal background check, they could have done a FOIA. And if you're not familiar with FOIA, I know that just because of working in education, or the Freedom of Information Act, you can request public information that's out there that you might not be aware of. A reporter found these police reports by doing a FOIA on Mike Clevinger back in October. So that was able to be found by a journalist, I should say. So the White Sox clearly didn't FOIA anything related to Mike Clevinger. So that's mistake number two. And I mean, if we're going to go for broke and have a third strike, just the fact that they then marched him out there, like I said, and that was even more damning as they started interviewing him. And he's this is Mike Clevinger. He's answering questions about everything. He's saying, I'm going to be proved innocent. None of those things are correct. And he's going on, which, whatever. And I know everybody on social media, well, this isn't fair. He's innocent until proven guilty. And I think you said it best a couple episodes ago when this story broke. We're not in court. This is public opinion. Yep. It's a sports team. And the same would go for anyone else who has a public job. If something breaks out, or something comes out, I should say, you're going to be put on administrative leave, maybe for a short period of time, and then they're probably going to can you because they don't want to deal with the stuff that you're causing them issues with. So he comes out, and they asked him, well, why didn't you tell the White Sox about this? And he opened his mouth, and he started to say, well, I thought the investigation was over. Those were literally the words that came out of his mouth. And then they said, well, can you clarify? Oh, well, you know what? My lawyer says I shouldn't talk about this. I'm not going to answer any more questions about it. And then he stopped, and he goes, I'm not going to answer this. I'm not going to answer that. But I would love to talk about how I changed my pitching mechanics. Dude, no one gives a damn about your pitching mechanics right now. Right. Shut the hell up. And if you're not going to talk, then don't even come out. So it's pure insanity. I really don't understand. And this isn't me being a Cubs fan, like trying to hate on the White Sox. By no means. I honestly don't care what the White Sox do. I care what the Cardinals and Brewers do and stuff like that. But it's not fair to the fans that Rick Hahn is what has Rick Hahn done? I read a stat the other day. In the last 3 years, which we're talking their prime window for winning, he has made one deadline deal. That's it. So he's not improving the team. Their biggest signing was Andrew Benintendi, who is a good player, but when you're in a major market, that shouldn't be your number one signing. That's like a number 2 or number 3 signing after you got some superstar. I don't understand. It's time for him to go, and Reinsdorf needs to go for a variety of reasons, but it's just so infuriating. And like I said, I'm not even a Sox fan. I'm bummed out about it. So
yeah, and there's so much to unravel in that press conference. I mean, you have Rick Hahn saying that he doesn't want to comment on it because the investigation's ongoing, yet he's taking the side of Clevinger by saying, oh, we didn't find anything in our investigation, our background check, and I understand why he did it. And then Clevinger coming out and saying that he'll be proven innocent because the facts will be shown, and the lack of evidence or whatnot. And if you're talking about abuse and you're talking about emotional abuse, that's going to be hard to prove. And I don't know if you listened to the score. They had Olivia Feinstein.
I did not get a chance to listen. Right? Yes. Did you listen to it?
I did. I listened to it today. I started listening to it, but I pulled in the driveway, and so I didn't know how long it was gonna go. So I listened to it today. And it was really good. She did come off very genuine. I was at first when they said they were gonna have her, I'm like, ooh, this could get ugly. This could get bad. Like you don't know who. I'd never heard her talk before. No. I saw the post, but she could have come off as a real nut job,
vindictive
but
or
she
something.
didn't.
Yeah,
she sounded very genuine. She admitted that her paycheck, his paycheck helps support their child.
Yeah.
Her asks were very reasonable. It sounded like she was giving him ample time to kind of clean up his act.
Yes.
She had alluded to him using acid and driving a car.
I did hear about that.
While high on acid, and driving with her as she was pregnant, and then also driving his other 2 kids around from his other previous relationship while high on acid. It sounds, he sounds like he needs help. It sounds like she was trying to this was kind of a last resort.
A last-ditch effort, to get him help,
I recommend listening to the interview. Parkins and Spiegel did the interview. It was great.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't sound like she had any malice. Again, she could be, she's telling her side of the story.
Right.
He's telling his side of the story.
Sure.
It's probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, she didn't come off as like a total nut job. She handled the interview very well. And people were upset that the score had
I was
her
just
on,
going to
but
say,
it's like,
yeah.
I don't. If you're going to be upset about that, then you should be upset with the White Sox for putting Clevinger out there, because he had a platform to say what he did, and he came out and said that he was not. He was innocent.
Yeah. He was going to be proven innocent.
We're going to prove it. Yeah. So I think it was fair for them to have her on. Again, if you haven't listened to it, I recommend you listening to her side of the story.
Yeah.
And again, there's a lot there to unravel. And it'll be interesting to see what MLB. I mean, honestly, with the things she was saying, if it should be easily checked by MLB and proven innocent, because she also alleged that other women that
there's other people out there
he's abused, and so it sounds like there's a lot of easily could be corroborated, the evidence, like, hey, has this guy done something to you? No, okay, move on. Okay, she's probably not telling the truth, as we work our way down the list of other women that supposedly she is alleging that he's abused. So
he's done this.
I think listen to him like, well, there's going to be an easy way, but again, we don't know how MLB, they might give him a light suspension, they might come out with something hard and then reduce it to half, or whatever they did with Bauer. So I advise, if you're interested in this, to listen to that. And the White Sox
it's
really
insane.
They really just stepped in on this one, and Rick Hahn has just, him opening his mouth, he's just come off completely incompetent.
Tone deaf. Absolutely tone deaf. Oh, we lost Vinny there for a second. Rick Hahn is absolutely tone deaf. It was Jerry that was doing, part of the hiring of TLR. And this is all Rick, and he's looking terrible right now. Absolutely terrible. With each time he steps out in front of microphones, he's looking worse and worse. So yeah, it's a damn shame, especially for a team that should be talking about championships and contending. They're not. They're talking about some other off the field garbage that's going on, and it's mind-boggling. Yeah, no, I mean, I think you nailed it. I honestly got nothing else to say. The one thing that frustrates me, granted I don't know all the circumstances, but I find it very interesting that all those things came out with Trevor Bauer. MLB said, all right, we're going to do our investigation. And I want to say, like, right before he had his next start, he was already suspended or put on leave, didn't he? I mean, like, it was a course of like a week where this has been going on. They've been investigating for 3-4 months at least. I don't know if they're waiting until the season starts before they, drop the hammer or say he's innocent. I would think you'd want to clear this up or name your punishment as soon as possible. If they're going to name a punishment, maybe they're waiting until the season starts, because then that affects his game checks. That's my thinking, because I think spring training is a little bit different in terms of checks. I don't know. We will find out. This story is far from over. It's definitely just getting going. All right. Yeah, well, okay, let's switch gears a little bit. We do have the Zips and Pacoda rankings for MLB. So let's talk about those. Vinny, which one would you like to start with? I'll let you pick.
We can start with Zips. That came out first.
All right, so the Zips projections, these are for the National League. I'll have to find the American League ones. So pretty much what Zips does is they try and, let me see here. I'm trying to find the best explanation for Zips. Okay, so they look at platoon splits. They look at RBIs. Every stat you'd want they're looking at, and they're trying to build the potential wins and losses for each team throughout the season. So National League, here we go. They have Atlanta 94-68 and the Mets 94-68 tied for the division, the National League East division. Phillies at 85-77, Miami Marlins 75-87, and then the Nationals, 64-98. We have the National League Central. Vinny, would you like to guess who's at the top of the National League Central?
For Zips?
Yes.
I'd say Brewers.
Ooh, close, but not quite. They have the Cardinals at 91-71. Okay. They have the Brewers 8 games back at 83-79, and then they have the Cubs under 83. They have the Cubs under 500 at 78-84, which that seems a little low to me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if that's my optimism and fandom getting in the way, but yeah, I don't know. And then they got the Reds and Pirates, but the less said about them, the better.
Yeah.
We got, National League West. We have the Padres and Dodgers projected to tie for the division at 91-71. Giants making a comeback this year at 88-74. Diamondbacks breaking even at 500. And, Chris Bryant's Rockies projected to may have only 66 wins. Let me see if I can find the American League ones, because I can't find the American League Zips. So, yeah, is there anything, while I'm looking up those, is there anything that stands out or anything that was surprising to you?
Well, the Giants seemed surprising because they really didn't do. I'm trying to think of the moves they made. I don't think they made anything significant. They didn't get Correa. They didn't get Judge. No. What did they end up getting? I don't get Rodon. Rodon's not there.
Rodon left. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they had him up there. They're playing for second, really. Yeah. It's either
that's really all it is.
Or Dodgers should be, unless the Giants do go on some crazy run like they did 2 years ago.
Right. Right.
Yeah, the East should be interesting with everybody kind of up there. The Marlins are kind of, you don't know what they're going to be. Are they just going to be the bad Marlins, or they did some they made some additions. They got a really good pitching staff, so it's going to be interesting. Cubs at 78 wins, okay.
That's three short of 500, I guess.
I just think I think having a good defensive catcher is, I don't know. I'm buying into that metric, or the stats of with Wilson, without Wilson. I'm really buying into that, and. I guess we'll see how that actually plays out going forward. I think they can be better than 78 wins, but also, last year I had them winning the division.
You got to win the division,
didn't do that. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're going to be, maybe they'll be around where they're at. They were at the end of the year. Record wise could be the same as last year, but. Maybe they, it's going to be more consistent. It won't be these long. They had long droughts of, winless games. And maybe it's more smoothed over, and it's going to be, not as many, 10 plus. I don't know. I felt like they had a couple 10 plus loss streaks there. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. The Brewers. They didn't really do much. They pissed off their ace this going through arbitration. I don't know if you saw that quote.
Yep.
This week or today actually, where he was not happy with the whole process, and them having to, I mean, and I think it was Ian Happ was on the Score, and he's talked about that process where you're literally in there and the team you're playing for is telling you how bad you are, be paid. It's not a pretty process.
No.
So yeah, of course he's probably not happy about that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out this year.
Yeah, I think it will be very interesting. Real quick, AL East, they have the Yankees at 89 and 73, the Blue Jays 88 and 74, the Rays 86 and 76, the Orioles 80 and 82, and they have the Red Sox dead last 79 and 83.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that myself. All right, wow, oh boy. All right, I'm gonna be honest. The AL Central Zips projections, they have the White Sox having more wins. They have them. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. They have the White Sox having less wins than the Cubs. All right, so the Guardians, Cleveland is in first, 83 and 79. Twins, 83. Twins, 80 and 82. White Sox, 74 and 88. Tigers, 71, 91. And Royals, 70 and 92. That's interesting. Can you imagine if the White Sox have a worse record than the Cubs, and the White Sox are in their World Series window still, so...
Yeah,
are they? I don't know if they are anymore.
I don't know. I know we've talked about it. I don't know. Was last year the regular going forward for all these guys? I mean, I'd like to think not that. Yeah, a lot of them are going to rebound. But again, I don't know. It's really just, I mean, was it all Tony La Russa's fault, the way he was managing and handling the players? Or, is this how these guys are going to be? They had a lot of freak injuries. I don't know if they've updated their medical staff in strength and conditioning, but I hope they did, because, man, they cannot afford to have these guys go down with injuries anymore. Right. It's going to be interesting. If they can stay healthy, I can't see them having that record. I mean, if they're all healthy, they don't lose Eloy for a long period of time. Luis is going to be out there almost every day. Tim Anderson isn't going to be on the 60-day DL for any period of time for a broken finger or whatever he had last year. I would have to imagine that they're going to win the division if they can stay healthy. But I guess that's a big if at this point. Yeah.
And then to wrap up the Zips projections, they have the Astros at 90 and 72, the Mariners and Angels at 85 and 77. I don't see the Angels being above 500, but that's just me. Rangers 79, 83, and the Oakland A's. 83. Oakland A's 72 and 90. I want the A's to be good. It makes me sad when they're not. All right.
I mean, well, Justin, you must be sad a lot.
Yeah, they're usually bad. I feel like every 3 or 4 years, they somehow put together like a Moneyball team, and they make the playoffs in the wild card.
They ship everybody out after it,
and then they dump everybody. All right, real quick, Pagoda. Sorry, not Abe Vigoda. Same thing there, but this is from Baseball Prospectus. They have the Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, Red Sox, and Orioles taking the AL East. Let me try that again. The Orioles ending in dead last. They have the Red Sox in fourth, a little bit different from the Zips. AL Central, this one has the White Sox a little bit higher with 78.4 wins, so they're taking into account something a little bit different there. Minnesota in the division winner there, not Cleveland, by 1 win. AL West, they have, this is a big difference too. Astros taking the division, the Angels in second with 86 wins, and the Mariners in third with 82 wins. Switching over to the NL, we have the Mets with 96 wins projected taking first, whereas Zips had the Braves taking first. NL Central, man, Cubs are being done dirty here. This time they have Milwaukee taking the division with 88 wins, St. Louis projected at 86, the Cubs projected with 77 wins. And then lastly, in the NL West, we have the Dodgers taking it with 96, the Padres with 93, and the Giants with 81. So a little bit of discrepancy there. Kind of interesting to see how that all works. But yeah, I don't know. I want to be more optimistic this year about the Cubs. My goal is a potential wild card berth. You get close to the wild card,
so.
playing meaningful games in September. I'll count that as a victory. After last year, I'll definitely count that as a victory. So yeah,
I mean, I think looking at the division too, I mean, what did the Brewers do in the offseason? They didn't do anything.
I don't know what they did.
They got rid of Colton Wong. They didn't really sign anybody of
note. No.
Wade Miley they got, which they 1 year prove it deal. I don't know why. I mean, I guess the pitching staff, but they can't hit. They haven't been able to hit in the past 2 years. So, okay. I mean, I can see them, people putting the Cardinals as the division winner. I mean, they had really strong seasons last year out of Goldschmidt and Arenado. They're probably hoping for the same thing. They just signed Wilson. That's another big bat there in their lineup. So I can see people putting them as a division winner. But man, the Brewers, like, what have the Brewers done? They didn't win the division.
Haven't done anything.
Year.
No, I don't get that.
Whatever.
Don't get that at all. So, all right. Well, we do have one football story. I don't know. Is it worth playing the football music for this one story? Your choice.
We should talk about it.
All right. So, Vinny, tell us, what is the football story for the Bears this week?
The Bears have officially closed on the Arlington Heights racetrack.
Woo!
That was announced. That was announced this week, and shortly after, the Bears posted the announcement that they were moving to, or they haven't moved. The Bears said that they closed, but there's still a lot of hurdles left to get through before they can build the stadium. And the mayor's office in Chicago came out with a statement shortly after. It says, today's news about the closure of the Bears option in Arlington Heights has been anticipated for some time. Nonetheless, all of us diehard Bears fans, the mayor included, know and believe that the Chicago Bears should remain in Chicago. So now that the land deal has closed, we have even a better opportunity to continue making the business case as to why the Bears should remain in Chicago and why the adaptations to Soldier Field can meet and exceed all of the Bears' future needs. There's simply no doubt that the economic benefits for the team of staying in a reimagined Soldier Field significantly outweighs those gained in a move to the suburbs. Due to the Bears' legal restrictions in the pre-purchase phase, the city was unable to engage in direct negotiations with the Bears while the land was under contract. Now that the deal has been completed, we look forward to negotiating and convincing the Bears that the team's best future remains in our beloved city of Chicago. What a bunch of BS. And
that is just like
honest,
jilted lovers. Like, they're going to come back. We haven't had a chance to talk to them, but they're going to come back. We got this.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
What can the city offer the Bears that they're not going to give them the stadium ownership rights? What can they, they're not going to give them any ticket sales from any shows that go on there.
Right.
There is absolutely no reason for the Bears to stay at Soldiers Field unless there's some sort of like environment. They find a bunch of dead horses that they can't touch. They can't build on there because there's a horse grave there from the horse.
There was a horse massacre. Yeah.
Right. Or it's contaminated because of all the horse shit that's been on the
racetrack.
Track.
Yeah.
Outside of some sort of environmental disaster that is restricting them from digging and building in that area, what can the city offer the Bears? The Bears will be the richest franchise in the United States if they are able to develop on this land and have their own stadium. No one's going to be able to
cut
be
and dry,
more valuable than them. Whether they're in the city or the suburbs, doesn't matter. And they're not the only team that has a city named and they're out in the suburbs. I mean, I think San Francisco's one, Dallas is one, the Giants are one.
The Giants and the Jets don't even play in New York. They play in New Jersey. No. Like, who cares,
Yep. Yeah. It makes no sense. And I think the mayor came out again and said something like she's very convinced that the Bears are going to stay. I don't know what in the Tribune.
I'd like to know which whatever she's on. I'd got to get some of that because It's not going to happen. And I don't know if this is more of just trying to save face, because who wants to be the mayor that loses the Chicago Bears? Yeah, I mean, as a fan,
I think it's more
don't
of the
care.
saving face, trying to appear to make an effort. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, I just don't see anything that they can realistically offer that's going to be better than the move.
No, like you said, them being able to own the actual stadium, be able to control the field itself, because we know how bad the turf is or the grass is, being able to make money from concerts and other things going on in the off season, it's a done deal. The mayor's office can say what they want, and I get why they have to, especially with an election coming up. But yeah, it's not. They're gone. They're as good as gone, which is fine. Arlington Heights is not that far. And like you said, it's not a big deal if they are a few minutes outside the city. I don't think too many fans are going to care. So, all right. Well, on that note, let's switch gears and get to the whatever.
Now it's time for whatever.
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 Whatever. Whatever you want.
Whatever I want.
Whatever, dude. Irrelevant.
Whatever, dude.
Alrighty, Vinny, take it away.
Welcome to Whatever Baseball, whatever. This week we are ranking our top 5 Pixar movies. Not Disney, just I guess Pixar is a part of Disney. We're ranking our top 5 Pixar movies. And this is like a tough one to do because I feel like there's so many good ones. Although, Justin, you alluded to earlier that you are not a fan of that many Pixar movies.
I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of them. It was definitely
because you didn't like so many.
My top 3 were locked in from the get-go, and then it was just moving around 4 and 5 a couple different times. But I also have not seen as many Pixar movies as I thought. Some of them were more, I think, just Disney Animation Studios or whatever it is. So that was one thing. A lot of them were more Pixar movies or a lot of the ones I have seen and remember were more from my childhood. I just haven't seen, or I don't really have, I don't want to say I don't have a reason because they're good movies in general, but I just haven't had a reason to go see Pixar movies in the theaters. I mean, I've caught a couple on Disney Plus, and I'm sure as Maddie gets older, we will be all in. And if we redo this topic in like 3 or 4 years, I'll be able to tell you everything about Pixar movies from front to back. So
you will. I guarantee
it's coming.
you.
It's coming. So
all right. With that, do you want to kick off with your number 5?
Sure, I would be happy to, Vinny. All right, my number 5. This was one. Initially wasn't going to be on my list. I was like, I've seen this one a bunch. It's fine, but it's not one that I would necessarily seek out in particular. And that is, oddly enough, that is Finding Nemo.
It's a good one. Great soundtrack.
It is. I think it's one that I've seen a ton because it was one I would always play on like the last day of school because it was a safe bet. Like, it's Finding Nemo. Everyone knows that. I've never seen Finding Dory. I don't even really like Nemo as a character that much. It's more the supporting cast.
Yeah.
What's the turtle's name? Shoot.
Crush.
Like the Crush. Crush is awesome. Crush's kids are awesome. And I also like the cast or the fish that are in the tank when he ends up in Sydney in the dentist office. I think, is it Robert from Everybody Loves Raymond plays the starfish. Willem Dafoe, I think, is the angelfish, if I'm not mistaken. Just some good casting there. And then also the pelican. I love the pelican too. I don't remember what the pelican's name is, but yeah, that little girl that taps on the glass, scary as hell. She's a freak.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 5.
I'm not surprised that you like this one. You come off as Marlin character.
Marlin. Oh,
the
wow.
Dad.
Yes, the overprotective dad.
Yeah.
I don't.
If you were a single parent, you would probably be very much like him.
If I was a single parent, yes. I give credit to all the single parents out there. If we have any listening, I don't know how you do it. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
I honestly, I barely got my stuff together as a parent with a wife who is also the parent. I don't know how single parents do it, so all the credit goes out to them. But yeah, I think if I was on my own, I think I would be way more overprotective of Maddie. And granted, she's only 16 months, so maybe I'll be more overprotective as she gets older and she's going to school and things like that. But yeah, and we had fish tanks growing up, so that was always fun, and saltwater tanks. True story. Mm-hmm. My dad had a saltwater tank 3 or 4 times during my course of living at home. And I remember they went to Florida, and he said, hey, can you take care of the saltwater tank? Can you make sure you feed them? Great, no problem. I will be happy to feed them. I was in either high school or college at the time. I think high school. And I'm not kidding you, the day after they left, not even like 12 hours, all the fish started having like crap grow on them, and they all got sick, and like a good chunk of them died before they got back. And I felt horrible. I'm like, it's not my fault. I didn't do anything. I fed them when I was supposed to, and I turned the light off when I was supposed to, and that was it. They just didn't make it. So I don't know.
Sure.
It was a bummer. Yeah. So all right, that's my number 5, Finding Nemo.
Good one. Yeah, I love the soundtrack for Finding Nemo.
It is good. It is good.
And that's a
and the sharks too.
I mean, the visuals in that is really good too. What'd you say?
The sharks, fish are friends, not food. Or
yes, that's great. Yep,
I like them too.
Fish are friends, not food. Yep.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, that's a great movie. So, good way to kick off your list.
Thank you.
My number 5 is Toy Story 2. The second installment in the Toy Story series. I love this one. Kelsey Grammer is the bat. He's the villain in it.
The prospector
is great. Yep. I the whole story is it was a very good sequel. Which was, the first one was phenomenal. So it was kind of, how are they going to build off of this? And I think they did a great job with adding in the new characters with.
Oh, we lost Vinny again. Yeah, Toy Story 2, adding in the new characters, I thought they did a great job.
It's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, my number 5 is Toy Story 2.
Excellent. You kind of cut out there, but I did get we got the gist of it. I will say,
all right,
Toy Story 2 is not on my list, Vinny. I think, now granted, I have not seen Toy Story 4, but out of the 3 I have seen, that is the weakest one to me.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, how many? Which ones have you seen?
I've seen 1, 2, and 3. I've seen 1, 2, and 3. That's it. I think it's insane that they're making a 5th one. They're milking it at this point.
Oh yeah.
I feel like 3 was a perfect ending.
Right?
Yeah, it's a cash cow, right?
I mean, if you're one of the voice actors, you collect a big paycheck. It's going to be it's going to be an okay movie. Probably it's not going to be anything.
It'll be
terrible.
Fine. No.
And yeah, you get to do something, and if you love it, then why not? Right?
Yeah, I don't know what it was about the second one. I think maybe as a kid, it was more that it just kind of bummed me out with like Jessie and her being left behind, and
that part is a little slow.
Yes.
Yeah, that I guess I can see that, but I just liked the toys going through the toy store and then Barbie and that whole thing, and I really enjoyed that. I don't know.
It's still definitely not a bad movie. It's not a bad Pixar movie, and not even a bad movie. But yeah, for whatever reason, that's one I need to revisit, because I'm wondering, as an adult now, because I have not seen it probably since middle school. As an adult, I wonder if maybe I'd have a different take on it now. But
you might, yeah. And I might. See, the reason I like it more, like 3, I feel like people like 3 because the visuals in 3 were
so good,
really good compared. 2 is still like kind of older, outdated, and I think 3's it's newer, and and I guess it is a good film. I can't knock it, but and I get why people might like that more than 2. But yeah, for me, I really enjoyed Toy Story 2. So.
It's definitely a good movie, and I think, like you said, Kelsey Grammer is the villain, the prospector who he's wrapped up in his packaging still, and then all of a sudden he's not in his box anymore because he was really never wrapped up in his box. It was just part of the act. So and also I can't think of the actor's name, but Newman does a great job in that movie too.
Yes. Yep. Yeah,
does
he
a great
plays
job.
Al McWiggin.
Yes.
The chicken guy.
The chicken guy.
Great.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. All right. Complaining going into work and he just has to drive across the street.
Yeah, it's a great sight gag for sure.
Yep.
Very, very good. So, all right.
But yeah, that's a good one. All right, Justin, you're number 4.
My number 4, you just mentioned it a second ago. My number 4 is Toy Story 3. I still remember going to see this. When was Toy Story 3? I think was that 2009?
Something like that, yeah.
2010, June of 2010. Okay, so I remember that would have been a year into your sister and I dating. I remember us going to see that together. And for me, like I said, I think 2 was enjoyable. 3, though, I think the reason I liked it so much was it just was like the perfect encapsulation of like Toy Story 1 came out when I was 7, 8, like when I was a kid. And then this came out, I was 21, just turning 21, like just about to start adulthood, getting out of I just graduated college that year or the year before, you know, having a real job, being an adult, quote unquote adult. Like there was something about like just it timing perfectly with like my own life. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I made so many connections. Like when I was a kid, I had all the action figures and pretending that they were, you know, alive and orchestrating like these gigantic scenes between Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joes and Star Wars and wrestling figures and all that crap, you know? Yeah. So, and then I think this one being like, you know, Andy's older. He's going to college. He's not in this anymore. It's something he looks back fondly on, but he has no use for it anymore. Like it reminded me of myself. And that scene where they're on the conveyor belt, like getting ready to go into the incinerator. Yeah. I was like, they're not really going to do this, are they? Like, is this really how they're...
I had the exact same thought.
There was part of me like, wow, they're really going to do this. Like, this is it, you know? And you take a step back and it's like, oh, God, there's no freaking way. Disney has done some dark stuff in their movies, but they would never kill their,
they're not that blatant.
No, and they're not going to kill the golden goose that they've got with this. So, that scene in itself, like, I don't remember everything about that movie. That's a movie I've only seen once. I saw it the one time in theaters. That's it.
Okay.
But it stuck with me, and that's one that I've definitely meant to revisit because it was just so, it was just really good. Like, even as an adult, I feel like in our theater when we went to go see it, I remember there were more people my age and older that were there that weren't even with kids. It was like, this is our childhood. Yeah. It's ending. Here's how it's going to end. Let's see how this plays out. So for that reason, that's my number 4.
Yeah. That's a really good one. Yeah, that whole scene when they get to the dump, it gets dark because then the green aliens are the first ones that get swept away, and you're like, oh my God, they're gone. Like that,
they're gone. That's it.
They're all gonna. Yeah, you're like, okay, this is getting dark. Like they they got pushed away by a, it's like a snowplow almost for trash, and you're like, oh, they're gone. Okay, and then you're seeing like they're going through the conveyor belt, and like, you know, things are getting chopped up. Oh my God, are they gonna make it? Like,
and they're all kind of saying their goodbyes. And, you know,
Exactly. And then, then they're going into the incinerator and you're sitting there going, oh my God, this is it. Like, how are they, like, you see him trying to struggle to, like, stay out of the incinerator. And, like, you're like, oh my God, this is it. Like, no one's coming to save, and he's not going to save him. He's not there. Like, who's going to save him? And then the aliens end up saving him. Spoiler alert. But, and it's like, okay, now it makes sense. But, like, at that end, man, they really did a great job.
It was a great,
like, ending up and making you think, like, oh God, this is gonna happen. Like, okay, like maybe this shouldn't have a PG rating.
I know. In my head, I'm like,
13R.
I just remember being like, if they're gonna do this, I don't want to see this movie. Like, I'm gonna. I'm good.
I want to just stop the film.
Just stop. Somebody kill the projector. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Yep. That's a great pick.
Thank you.
My number 4 is Ratatouille.
Oh, I have never seen Ratatouille.
Ratatouille's really good. I really enjoy this one. Patton Oswalt as Remy, the main mouse or I guess rat character. Mm-hmm. He's really good. They have a lot of great. They're not a lot of, I guess, big characters. Was it Raymond's brother? I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name either. But yes.
But yeah, he's in it. He's the Gusteau. Brad Garrett plays the main voice of Gusteau, and it's really very interesting premise, very unique. The rat able to cook and controls a human being pretty much to cook. A very good story. The food in it looks really good for being cartoon.
I've
food.
heard that. I've heard that.
Yeah. So it's number 4 for me. Another good soundtrack, and takes place in France, and it's a very nice story. And I recommend you watching that one, Justin.
I'll give that one a look. I do like Patton Oswalt, so I would definitely like to check that out.
Yeah. I think you can put that one on, and Maddie would like that too, because it's animals, rats, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
good visuals. So all right, cool. I will add that to the list.
All right, Justin, number 3.
My number 3. This was one I remember seeing quite a few times as a kid. I know there's 2 sequels, or a prequel and a sequel. I have not seen either of those. Wow, I didn't realize this came out back in 2001. Oh my God. Wow. That is the original Monsters, Inc. You give me John Goodman, you give me Billy Crystal, I'm there. Those 2 guys are amazing, Hall of Fame actors for me. I think they did a great job. I completely never realized Steve Buscemi plays the villain. That blew my mind. I had no idea. We got Zach, Dr. Toboggans in the chat, Dr. Mantis. Now you could tell me that was true. I wouldn't even know if they did make pizza in Ratatouille, but
yeah, they made a ton of sausage pizza, and they delivered it, and it was all pepperoni when they delivered it.
It's a bummer. It's a bait and switch.
Yeah.
That's how they get you.
It really is.
But yeah, like I remember that movie being great. Like just the whole concept of, like, I would love to know what was the writer's room like when they came up with this idea. Like there had to be marijuana or weed being smoked, right? Like
for Monsters, Inc.
Yeah. Like you think about it, like, okay, we're gonna make a movie and it's about monsters. Okay, well, what powers their city? Well, they make these doors and they go into closets and scare people, and that's electricity for their entire city. Oh, I like it. Okay, yeah, let's green light that. Go for it. Like, it's just a weird. I think it's awesome. It works, but
yeah, I mean, it's an awesome way to, like, kind of, especially for kids that might be
afraid.
They think there's a monster under the bed. Well, the monster, it puts it in a nice light. Like, oh, the monsters are just there to help power their city, so maybe it helps kids not be scared. Although my son watched this a ton and then started getting scared of the dark, so maybe it doesn't help as much as maybe Pixar was hoping. But yeah, I agree. It's a great movie, and probably come up again at some point here in the rankings.
And I as a kid, granted, in 2001, I was either I would have been a freshman in high school when I saw this. Wow, it's surprising. I loved the design.
Had nightmares and
I still had nightmares too. The monster designs were really cool, but I absolutely loved, and I don't know really why, but their equivalent of like the CDC, the guys in the hazmat suits that all were like goofy shapes. I thought those guys were hysterical. Those were my favorite guys. So. And then, like, when the clothing from inside the rooms would end up on the monsters, they'd have to, like, shave them, and it was a whole, decontamination. Yeah, so great movie. That's one I want to revisit, and that's also one I've never seen, Monsters, Inc. 2, and I've never seen Monsters University, which I think is a prequel. I've not seen either one of those.
University, there's no Monsters, Inc. 2.
Oh, is it just Monsters University then?
Yeah, they do have like a mini series out.
That's what I'm thinking
I haven't really watched. But yeah, and that takes place after Monsters, Inc. But Monsters University was also really good. And if you haven't seen that one, Justin, I recommend.
I will check that out. No, I have not.
That one's good. That one's it's really cool seeing like the university aspect. They do a pretty good job with that aspect and like college life and everything like that. So yeah, I recommend that one. It is a little sadder because, spoiler alert, Mike and Sully aren't the best of friends to start off with. So but it's cool how everything, again, they do a great job with kind of like creating, this universe of monsters and stuff like that and what they're all about. So yeah, I recommend watching it. And that was another, again, good soundtrack. It was, I think Randy Newman did the score for that one too. So that is another good one.
All right, I'll give that a look as well.
All right. On to
What are
me.
we at?
My number 3 is The Incredibles.
Oh.
This was this is really a great movie. Craig T. Nelson, Samuel L. Jackson. I think my wife and I have you seen this one?
I haven't seen this one either.
No, you haven't? Oh, this
No.
one's so good, Justin. Especially for someone that likes superhero.
Yeah, I think I
stuff.
should check this out too.
This is really good. Craig T. Nelson's great in it. There's a scene in it with Samuel L. Jackson where there's a bad guy outside, and he's gonna call to arms, and he's gonna go out there and save him because he's a superhero, and he's asking his wife where his super suit is, where that's at, and she's like, you're not leaving this dinner party. I've been planning this for weeks. And he's like trying to, she thinks he's just using it as an excuse to leave, that the world's in danger and he needs to go save him. She's like, nope, you have to stay here for the dinner party. It's always a good scene. My wife and I always laugh, and we always quote that one. But it's a great story. These superheroes, you're real people, and then they have to go into like pretty much witness protection because people turn on the superheroes because superheroes are saving people that don't want to be saved. And there's a lot of legal ramifications with that. So yeah, it's really good. It's another great story about, if superheroes were real, but then they had to go into hiding and be normal people, what would that be like for them? And it's kind of that whole aspect. Or what if superheroes, had kids and stuff like that? They were a real family, but they're superheroes. So again, Justin, I think you would really like The Incredibles just because you're into like the superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And it's another great spin on kind of this world, we see as kids growing up and kind of putting it into like adult perspective.
Yeah, that's another one. I don't know how I missed it, right? Like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I just looked it up. That was 2004, so I would have been like a junior, almost a senior in high school. But even still, like, I feel like Disney movies kind of transcend it. It's not really like something's too little for you, right? So I don't know how I missed that. I never saw that. Never saw Incredibles 2.
That was good
I don't
too.
know. But yeah, that's definitely one. That is definitely one I've been wanting to check out, just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, there's quite a laundry list here of things I got to see still.
Yep. All right, Justin, number 2.
All right, this one I finally saw last year. I absolutely loved it, and that is Coco. I really liked Coco.
Nice.
I think the music is great. B, I love the theme of, Day of the Dead and in the culture, the Mexican culture, and the importance that plays on, and being able to cross that bridge and living on in perpetuity and stuff like that. And the whole concept is you can continue living as a skeleton in the afterlife as long as you're being honored and remembered by your family. Like, that's a really interesting, unique idea. I loved the fact that this idol that the kid, I'm forgetting his name, but the idol, so to speak, that he thinks is his grandfather, is a complete scam artist, and not really who he is, and being able to expose that, and then ultimately seeing, this poor guy that's kind of living on the streets in the afterlife is actually the one that's his grandpa, and being able to reunite the family, and things go along from there. Absolutely great movie. Like I said, the music is phenomenal. One of my favorite scenes is when they bring him into the afterlife, and it's them at the IRS of the afterlife trying to document why the grandmother can't go back because someone knocked her picture off the ofrenda, I believe it's called, and just her tearing the poor desk jockey a new one because he's on his computer and he's like, I don't know what to tell you. But great movie, great visuals too. I absolutely think that's a very visually stunning movie, and that's probably the newest Pixar movie I've seen altogether. But I really enjoyed that movie for sure. So
yeah, I haven't seen that. That's one I haven't seen all the way through from beginning to end. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I know the soundtrack, and it's great. But it's one of those things where I kind of figured out what was going to end up happening. And the parts that I saw. I mean, you can kind of get to that there as an adult. You can make that, those connections and everything. But it was that from what I saw, it was great. And yeah, like you said, like some of the scenes, like the IRS, like the police stopping people from being able to go back. That was kind of really, I really enjoyed how they did that. So that's a good choice for your number 2.
Thank you.
My number 2, you talked about as your number 3. It is Monsters Inc. The same thing that you had talked about. The characters that they have: John Goodman, Billy Crystal. I mean, they played off each other great. There was great chemistry between those two. I loved Mike Wazowski. Such a funny character.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, I thought it was a great concept. The monsters, they're scaring kids because they need to power their city, but at the same time, the kids, like, they're actually terrified of the kids. Like, their monsters are coming out of the door and saying the kids almost touched them. That it's harder to scare the kids because they're watching. There's more entertainment and stuff going on, and they're not scared of kids anymore. And what are they going to do to power the city? There's rolling blackouts and stuff. I thought it was a phenomenal movie and concept. I really enjoyed that one, and it's one that I hope to be able to start playing again in the house. We haven't really, I think my son's kind of past that point of wanting to watch the Monsters Inc. maybe, but maybe our daughter, once she starts getting a little bit older, will want to watch it.
I think that'll be a good way to introduce it to her for sure.
Yeah.
All right,
Justin.
My number one. All right, my number 1, first Pixar movie ever, at least one released to the public. Not a short, I should say, regular movie. And that is the original Toy Story.
That's mine too.
That is it. Okay, yeah. I mean, like, that came out, I believe it was 95, 94. Let's see, 95. Okay, so like, I just like the whole concept of, like, your toys when you're not around, they're alive, they're talking, they're doing their thing. Yep. Like, that was just such a cool magical idea. The little green army guys being sent down with the baby monitor in the beginning to spy on what's the new presents they got. You go back and look at it now and it's like, holy cow, this CG is so outdated. But I still remember as a kid being like, oh my gosh, like, this is all computer graphics and it looks real. It's like, it's really perfect, good. Right? The scene in the truck with the Pizza Planet truck and them getting smashed by the tools in the back and going to that arcade. Like, that arcade looked so cool as a kid. Cool. I wanted to go to something like that so badly. Sid is a kid. Sid was messed up. Like, he needs some help. There's some destructive tendencies in that kid.
Well, he ends up being the garbage man.
He's the garbage man in 3, right? Yeah. So, so many good, just gags and things like that. Great music. I don't know too much about Randy Newman, but the Randy Newman songs that are in there, I do enjoy. I could go on and on. Just the different characters, the Mr. Potato Head in what's the bank's name? The piggy bank. Is it just Pig?
Ham.
I can't think. Ham. Thank you.
Ham.
The dinosaur in Little Bo Peep in the Rex. Race car. Yep. Rex, thank you. So good. Like, I remember renting the Sega Genesis Toy Story game, and it was so hard, especially for kids. But I remember renting that a ton just because the movie was so much fun. And yeah, I could go on and on, but it's just such a cool movie. At the end, them getting the dog, and then I love how you see in the movies the dog gets progressively older, and it's sad, but at the same time, it's kind of cool to see, like, they gave this dog a loving family throughout the entire 3 movies. Because, granted, I don't know what happened. I'm assuming Andy's not in the 4th one, but yeah, great movie. That's all I got. So, now I do got to ask: are you more of a Woody guy or a Buzz Lightyear guy?
I don't know. I go back and forth.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like sci-fi more than westerns, but I'm definitely more of a camp Woody. Buzz just, I don't know. In the first half of the movie, in the first one, he just seems like such a arrogant dick. I don't know. You know what I mean? And granted, he changes throughout the courses of the other movies, but Woody was that was my guy. That was my favorite. So
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, fun fact about Toy Story, they ran out of their budget. And
Really?
so at the birthday party, if you pause it, the kids at Andy's birthday party all look like Andy. They didn't have enough money to make each kid their own like individual face, so they all have
never
Andy's face.
Noticed that.
Well,
interesting.
It's really quick. But yeah, so that's one little interesting fact. But yeah, I mean, the cast that they have,
yes,
Tim Allen, Tom Hanks, they're just they play off each other great.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Don Rickles and Mr. Potato Head is hilarious.
Yes.
It's one of those movies that has some good some good adult humor. I mean, the whole series does, where it's good enough where if you're an adult and watching it, you can appreciate it and find some humor in it as well. And I feel like they lay it on thick with each one, like the more adult jokes, like within Toy Story 2 when Jesse does like the same like jump swinging around, flying around the room like Buzz did in the first one. Buzz's wings just pop open. So yeah, it's just, they do funny stuff like that. That's really enjoyable. And like you said, it's so magical to think like, oh, my toys they're alive. Like I can talk to them and they'll probably hear me and stuff like that. And they really like, playing with me and stuff like that. So yeah, that's such a cool premise. So yeah, Toy Story for me is number one. And oddly enough, it's the first Pixar movie. So it's, I mean, rightfully so.
That is, I think the last thing I can say about it is like, I just loved the fact that like, this is getting really in the weeds, but I loved how Andy incorporated all of his toys and like would do, it wasn't just like, all right, I'm going to play with Woody and my Western stuff, or I'm only going to play with the Army men, but like mashing it all together and creating his own little thing. Cause like as a kid, that's what I did too with all my stuff, So, yeah, just such a good movie, and that's one I really can't wait until Maddie gets a little bit older to show her. Hopefully, it doesn't freak her out and think her toys are alive and watching her while she sleeps. I don't know, but
well, I mean, if she's anything like you, I'm sure she will.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So
yeah.
Well, we've made it. Oh, we have to go over.
Get to reader submissions.
We got to get to reader submissions. All right, you want to take the first one?
Justin, I'll let you go first.
All right. Brian wrote in, he said, they're all great. Here's what comes to my mind initially, though. Toy Story trilogy, Onward, and Finding Nemo. I don't think I've ever seen Onward.
I'm trying to think of which Onward.
Came out in 2020, and it features...
so that one was about... Yeah, they were
teenage
like...
elf brothers on a magical quest.
They're elves, and like, it was kind of like a real-world type... kind of like a Monsters, Inc., but... elves and I think
Chris Pratt and
it came out during the pandemic,
Tom Holland.
So
okay, and Julia Louise Dreyfus is in it apparently.
Yeah,
okay. I totally missed that one.
That one all the way through, and I think I've seen very little of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's interesting that they had Tom Holland and Chris Pratt in that. Both in the MCU.
You're right.
So. Yeah, I'll have to give that one a watch. Like I said, that came out during the pandemic, so I didn't really pay too much attention to it. So, and it was a little bit. I think it's a little bit. My son was too little for that.
Yeah,
one, so
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll have to give that one a watch.
Alrighty.
Robin writes in, Toy Story 3, Finding Dory, The Incredibles, Coco, Brave, Toy Story 4, and Up.
I've never seen Brave either.
Yeah, Up's a hard
Up is
one
good.
Up is good. I actually like they have I don't know if you saw they came out with a short series of, I think.
I heard about it.
It's just called Doug. It's about the dog, which I think is better than the actual movie, just because that beginning is just depressing.
Oh my God. Like, that beginning will just break you within the first 5 minutes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
And for me, that's why I can't put that on my list. Just because, like, it's a great movie, like it's cute and
Ed Asner is great in it. Yeah,
yeah, but that beginning is just so. It's really hard to watch.
It's funny that my mom brings that one up because I remember seeing that when it came out, or maybe I showed it as a movie on like a I must have shown it like on a movie day for school or something because that came out in 2009. And I would have been in my 20s. The beginning didn't really bother me at all, but now like being married with and actually I just saw the intro. It started playing the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have not seen this in forever. Yeah, I'm gonna sit down and watch this. In the first 5 minutes, the intro, I'm like, oh crap, I'm good, and I kind of tapped out immediately. Yeah. I'm like, nah, I'm good. So that's still a good movie, but yeah, not one I've revisited for sure. All right. My buddy Greg writes in. He said, Up, Coco, and Finding Nemo are his favorites.
Nice. Those are all good ones. Erica writes in, I did not see as many Pixar movies as I originally had thought, kind of like you, Justin, as you were talking. But she writes in and says, Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, Toy Story 3, and Up. All good picks.
Wow, that might...
You can really have a bad
Toy
Story pick.
Besides Coco and Up, we have the exact same list almost. So, all right. Pat writes in. He is actually a former student of mine. He's now in college, which is really depressing me, because I'm old. He said the original Cars has to be in this list somewhere. The rest of them though sucked. I'll be honest, Pat. I don't know if he's listening or watching, but I am not a fan of any of the Cars movies. I find them
really
horribly boring. I've only seen the first one. Didn't do anything for me.
The first one was the best one, I thought.
That's what I've heard, but it didn't do anything for me. And I'm somebody who likes watching F1 when it's on the race weekend and stuff. But it did nothing for me whatsoever. I don't know what's wrong with me in terms of the movies. So
when did you watch it? When it first came out?
It was probably when it first came out. Which was
you should rewatch it.
2006.
Like it.
Yeah, I would have saw it when it first came out. Yeah, 06.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you should rewatch
give it another watch.
Maybe you'll have an appreciation for it. The first Cars is really good. 2 was awful. It was like supposed to be a spy thriller, and it just it wasn't that good.
Didn't they do planes too?
They did do they had like planes and no trains or automobiles.
It's not worth it.
I guess Cars is the automobiles one. The first Cars was good. The third one was okay. It was if that came out second, that would the series would have been better. But that second one was just so bad.
I've heard it's really bad.
It featured Mater, which is the guy, Larry
the tow
the Cable
truck
guy.
Right? Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, and it was. He was fine as a side character, but as the main character, it didn't do anything for me.
That shtick got real old.
Yeah, and then the last one was kind of like a redemption one, but the visuals in that was fantastic. In the third one, I wish the first one had those visuals. It would have been great. The first one was really good. Typical. I feel like this. That typical. Rich person kind of gets humbled type of thing in a small town. I feel like that story is always
you've seen it before.
But it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked Owen Wilson in that one, and I can't think of the guy who played Doc. Newman. Not Newman from Seinfeld, but the Newman's dressing guy. I can't think of his Paul Newman. That's it.
Oh yeah.
Paul Newman was Doc in that, and he was great in that role too. But yeah, I Cars wasn't on my list. I almost put it at number 5, but it didn't make it because Toy Story 2 is I like that one better. So moving on from the Cars talk, Jaybird writes in number 5, Coco, number 4, Monsters University, number 3, Brave, number 2, Luca, and number 1, Toy Story. Also has WALL-E as an honorable mention. Now, I have not seen WALL-E or Brave. I've seen bits and pieces of WALL-E, but I've heard WALL-E's like a phenomenal story.
WALL-E's good. I enjoyed it. It's almost getting to the point of it's almost being a cautionary tale of I don't know, lot of things in terms of our modern civilization. But yeah, it's still a good movie. the first like 45 minutes, I don't even think there's any dialogue. It's just Wally by himself, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've seen it. So, but still a really good movie and amazing visuals as well. So,
yep.
All right, Dr. Mantis, I don't know if he's still in the chat making pizzas, but he says number 5, Monsters Inc., number 4, The Incredibles, number 3, Up, number 2, Finding Nemo, and number 1, Toy Story. You can tell a lot of us that are writing in are all the same age because we're all having like Toy Story near the top. So.
Yes, exactly. Right. Did you see Luca at all?
No, I did not.
Going back to Jay Bird's list?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that one was good. That one came out during the pandemic, I think near the end of the pandemic. And that one, I like that story. That was good. It was about, I guess, mermaids or mermans, to quote Zoolander. But yeah, it's kind of like in an Italian town type of thing, and these fish creatures are there, and the townspeople try to get the fish people. It's just like this whole kind of back and forth, and this fish one of the fish people wants to be like human, so kind of like the Little Mermaid almost, but without the love story. But it was a really, again, good visuals, fun story. I feel like it's not as innovative as some of the other stories that they've told, but still good nonetheless.
Gotcha.
Fitzmagic from the OnTapSportsNet.com wrote in. He said, "For me, it will always be Monsters Inc." Yes, that's a solid.
It is a good one. It is a good one. All right. The Rustlin' Addicts podcast said, I'm a huge Toy Story guy, but all of them are amazing. All Toy Stories make it in my top 5. That 5th spot, though, is extremely tough. So I don't. They're still thinking about their number 5. But yeah, I need to go back and watch Toy Story 4. I have not watched that one yet, so we'll see what happens.
That one's good. I don't know. For me, that's the weakest of the 4.
I can kind of see that being the case.
But again, a very visually appealing movie because that's like the advanced. I mean, just recently came out, so it's got the best CGI. But yeah, I mean, Keanu Reeves is in it, so you can't go wrong with him.
I'm sold already, right there. Isn't he? Was it Duke Kaboom or something like that?
Duke Kaboom. Yep. So yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, again, like I said, I felt like it was the weakest of the 4, but that's just me. The Brutally Honest Sports podcast wrote in and said Toy Story 2. Yes, okay. I'm glad they have that on there because that's a good one.
Jordan, friend of the podcast and co-host last week, he wrote in and said Toy Story, so that's his.
Nice. Caleb wrote in and said, I was dealing with a little bit of depression when I saw Inside Out in theaters. I totally forgot that's a Pixar movie.
That's a good one, too.
It still gets me on rewatches, but it's because of it. It reminds me of how far I've come in my own mental health journey. Yeah, that's a great movie, and it does a great job with all the different emotions. Have you?
Yes.
You probably haven't seen Inside
Out. I have
you?
seen that one. I've seen.
Okay.
I feel like I've seen. I don't know if I've ever actually seen the ending. I've seen probably 3/4 of the way through, and I did enjoy it. It was one of those where it's like, I haven't seen the ending. I don't want to put it on my list. But Lewis Black is the anger emotion. I thought was phenomenal.
Yep.
I thought that was great. Amy Poehler does a really good job.
Of the emotions,
excellent. Yeah,
was great.
Having
Phyllis be the downer.
That's right.
The sad, and then I can't think of his name. Bill Hader was kind of like the goofy.
What was he?
The goofy emotion.
Yes, he was. That's right.
And then Leslie from Parks and Rec was
Amy
like
Poehler.
Yeah, Amy Poehler was like the super happy one. So
Joy, right? Was she Joy?
Yeah, she was. Yep. So the people that they had for all the emotions, I felt like they just casted them absolutely perfectly.
Excellently.
Because I mean, when you think of Amy Poehler, I just think of Leslie Knope.
Yeah.
And how like upbeat and like super positive she is. So like she played that role perfectly. And it was, just the way it like kind of goes in with your inner workings. I thought it was great. And I love the scene where they're at the dinner table and the wife's talking.
You just took I was just gonna say that. Yeah. Say something.
The husband just sitting there like on autopilot. Oh, she said something. Like all like his brains like
all the emotions are like, what happened? What did he say?
Figure out what's going on.
It's an excellent scene.
Great.
Excellent scene.
Yeah.
Excellent scene. So.
Oh.
All right. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Trent wrote in, said, I'm of potentially controversial opinion here that Pixar only has 4 truly great films. Number 4, Monsters, Inc., 3, The Incredibles, 2, Toy Story, and 1, Ratatouille. Those are the best ones in my opinion. A Bug's Life. Ooh, that's a good one, too. I haven't seen that in ages.
About that one.
I haven't seen that in a good 20 years. Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, and Up are all good, but not in the great category. Interesting. All right. All righty.
I keep forgetting about some of these Pixar movies. Yeah, I totally forgot about Bug's Life.
Yes.
But I digress. I'm going to butcher this name, and I apologize.
It's Nabil, I believe.
Nabil?
Yeah.
Nabil writes in and says, number 5, Up, also super charming, probably the last of Pixar's golden age. Number 4, Ratatouille, charming as can be. Number 3, The Incredibles, fun as heck, super quotable, and surprisingly mature. Yes, I agree. Like, Justin, I think you can watch that one.
Yeah, I need to. That's probably at the top of my list right now. And then Ratatouille and Toy Story 4 and a couple other ones. Yep. But yeah, Incredibles I really need to see.
So. Yeah. Nabil goes on number 2, Wall-E, eco-conscious, smart, and charming. Number 1, Finding Nemo, rewatchable, quotable, and wholesome. Those are great ways to describe all of those movies.
Agreed. All right. And then lastly, to wrap up, Lucas says, best Pixar movie is Wall-E, and it's not even close. One of the best love stories in film. That is true. It's a cute one. After that, he'd go Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, and Toy Story 1 through 3. I feel like they are all on par with each other. All right. Nice. Vinny, we've made it through another episode.
Woo!
Any parting words of wisdom you'd like to share before we sign off for the night?
No, absolutely none.
All right, fair enough.
I'll keep it all to myself.
Hey, you know what? That's fine by me. No problem there. If you'd like to reach out and tell us what your favorite Pixar movie is, or what you think about Mike Clevinger, Rick Hahn, any of those things, you can email the show, baseballandwhatever@gmail.com. You can tweet us at baseballandwhat. You can find us on Instagram at baseballandwhatever, facebook.com/baseballandwhatever as well. You can like, share, and subscribe our YouTube videos, youtube.com/baseballandwhatever. If you're a Twitch person, twitch.tv/baseballandwhatever. And I don't know what I'm doing, but we have 5 TikTok videos now. Find us on TikTok at baseballandwhatever. But more importantly, the most important one, send us a voicemail or text us, 1-913-808-3278. That number again is 1-913-808-FART. All right. We'll be back next week. We'll see what we come up with. But thank you for listening, and have a great weekend. See you next time on Baseball and Whatever. Bye, everybody.
Take care.